Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. So, I don't know about the rest of you all, but I've been having a pretty good day today. I got to meet my entire family, Harold, Gorman, Gaspar, my sister Corey, her boyfriend Mike Beneduk, and speaking of which, Corey and Mike are getting married, so congratulations to them. I wish them both the best. But anyways, I thought to celebrate Thanksgiving, I'd talk a little bit about the Lewis family tree. And the Lewis family tree gets a little bit complicated and includes things like aliens and pirates. But I'm going to be doing my best to tell you the entire story. And this is just to give you all an idea of my ancestors, about where I came from, and just basically to get a look at my history. The history of Seth Lewis. So, this is where it all started. My great great grandfather, Ashley Lewis. And this is his sister, his father, his mother. And when I was a kid, this picture always struck me. It's actually kind of a sad picture. Ashley Lewis was one of the few child soldiers that made it through the Battle of Gettysburg and was able to survive. But anyways, you might notice that everyone in this picture has a sort of somber tone. And that is because when you're taking a picture, you have to stand up like real straight and you can't blink. So pretty much everyone was miserable with this experience and they always like frowned. But you might notice that the mother, Charlotte Lewis, is actually smiling. And she was known for this. She was known as No Frown Charlotte. And she always believed that you should live life with a smile on your face. So she was really an incredible woman. But anyways, I don't know too much about the ancestry of the Lewis family after that. I think there was a cowboy, Wiley E. Lewis, that apparently was one of the best gun toters in the Wild West. And also there was a pirate, Captain Lewis, who was a great buccaneer. It said that the Lewis treasure is still somewhere out in South America. I don't know about all that. But the rest of it is kind of a mystery. The Lewis family is shadowed in a lot of conspiracies, and just if I were to get into it, I'd never be able to stop. But that is basically the story. So now we're getting into the modern age of the Lewis family with my grandfather, Frank Lewis Jr. And Frank Lewis Jr. was a race car driver, and he met LaRue Lewis, who was a great disco dancer during her day. She was considered the queen of the disco, and he met her on the dance floor, and the two of them just could not stop dancing. And Frank Lewis Jr. realized he was in love with LaRue, and it is a beautiful romance story to anyone who doesn't know it. But my grandfather came from a very big household, had a lot of brothers and sisters, like 13 or so. I think it was 12. I don't know. There was a lot. I can't even remember them all. But LaRue came from a very small city family, and it was just basically country mouse and city mouse meeting and falling in love. But anyways, they ended up having three children, Todd, Frank, and Gaspar. Now, Frank and Todd are just two wonderful kids. Frank was a little more rambunctious. Todd was the good one of the family. But Gaspar was really the wild one. And if it hadn't been for religion, he probably would have died. And my family actually didn't talk about him for a while just because of how much trouble he got into. But he did find religion, and he became a prophet, a fortune teller, and our families will still meet him from time to time. And I don't want to get into too much about Todd's children or Gaspar's children, but basically Frank Lewis, he went on and he at first he was kind of, again, he was a little bit of a rambunctious child himself, but he ended up he considered following in his dad's footsteps and becoming a race car driver, but moved more towards football until finally he just decided to join the Air Force. And in the Air Force, my father was part of this big government thing, and he met Emma Lewis. And this is where things get a little bit more complicated. Now, Emma Douglas, I should say Douglas, not Emma Lewis. I don't know why. I always say that because I kind of consider her to be just a part of the family. But Emma Douglas was a scientist, and she and Dad decided to create this human. and they worked on it for a long time, and finally they were able to create two twin people, basically, out of DNA, and created Harold and Caroline, who are now my half-brother and half-sister, since the DNA process, Frank Lewis donated his DNA for the project, and that's where Harold and Caroline come from. Dad's DNA entirely. It's actually an amazing story. It did make the news. No one really pays attention to that kind of news anymore, I don't think, for some reason. But anyways, Dad ended up falling in love with Jerry Lewis, who was basically a writer. She came from the hills. Two of them falling in love again, kind of like Dad kind of followed in his own dad's footsteps a lot, and married sort of just this out of the way person for him, someone completely different from himself. But it worked, as Dad had three kids, me, Corey, and Gorman. And Gorman, to be honest, got a bit into drugs and stuff and rock and roll, and our family didn't talk about him for a little while. He was the older one. You know, he really wasn't bad when he was really little, and he actually did get good grades, and he played football and could play an instrument, and we thought he would be fine, but he did get a little bit really dark for a little while, and just here recently he's begun to talk to us again, so we're very glad of that. We love Gorman. But anyways, that's basically my family history. I hope you all enjoyed learning a little bit about where I came from. And family is an important thing, and every Thanksgiving I'm very grateful to have such an incredible family filled with such unique characters. So, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.